Hi ladies, my name is Autumn Estes. I'm a Younique presenter, and today I'm going to show you how to use one of our addiction palettes. I actually have all three. They are absolutely amazing. If you've never used a palette before, this is what they do. It has a range of colors that you can apply for obviously a unlimited amount of looks. But what it has is shimmers, mattes. It's going to have colors for a smoky look, for your eyeliner, for your base, for your transition colors. You can do all of that with a palette. My absolute favorite palette when these first came out was palette number 2. These are all of the blacks and the smokies, and honestly still my favorite palette, but I fall in love a little more and more each day with our browns. So I'm going to show you how to do a brown eye, and I may still use a couple of the colors from the addiction palette too. We'll see. So what I'm going to do first is I've already applied my primer. As I said in one of my previous videos that I made, I do the Glorious Primer on my eyelids to help get a good foundation for my color. I have 2 staple colors that I use absolutely every single day. One is Curious, and one, you can see, is Infatuated. So Curious is going to be this is kind of like a shimmery champagne color. I can't really see it with this, but that's always my base color, no matter what I apply. If it's a cream shadow, if it is my, I just want to add a little color for the weekend kind of thing, just to get out of the house, I always use this color first. Okay, so that way I just have a solid color to start with on my lids. I also find that if I do that, then I don't have to really come back and highlight later on my brow line, because this is kind of that highlight color to start with. Okay, so I always start with that. My transition color is almost always Infatuated. Sometimes I'll use the color Beautiful or the color Irresistible, which is just a lighter shade of this brown. If you've never used a loose mineral pigment powder, this is Younique's Crease Brush, one of my absolute favorite brushes, because the bristles are so short and compacted that you can get you can push a lot of color in to your lid. So I'm just going to do a little bit, and this I always do on my brow bone. I don't do my crease, I do my brow bone, because this is kind of going to be my transition color. And I'm going to just do the one eye so that you can see, one, it's not going to be a 20-minute video, and then you can kind of see where I started with what I ended up with. So, like I said, this is my brow bone because it's going to be my transition color. Now, honestly, if you are into smoky eyes, this is a good way for you to kind of outline your corners, your center, and all of that. So, there's my transition color. I do sometimes come back depending on if I need my colors to blend. You can come back with that transition color after. Okay, so we're going to do, like I said, Addiction Palette number 1. This is my absolute favorite color in here. It's a shimmery brown, and the color is called Dillis. This is the 2-sided shadow brush that comes with, it doesn't come with the palette, but it would be one that you'd want to use with it. I literally haven't used this type of applicator in years, so getting used to this again was a little hard, but I mainly use it to highlight. So this is what I'm going to use to push the color into the corners. I'm going to start with Zelius, or however you want to pronounce it. I'm going to put it in my corners and kind of half lid. And this is an extremely pigmented color, so you do not need a lot. And like I said, I push mine in. I don't necessarily brush right away. I put the color in first, and then when I'm ready to blend, I'll come back and brush it in. Okay, so that's my corner color there. I go about half lid. And I'm going to go from the corner to my crease. Then I'll kind of brush it in a little bit just to blend. So that's going to be the starting. Now with this color, I totally love smoky eyes. You could put a black in there to highlight this, but you really wouldn't need it. But it's totally your choice. Okay, so there's that. Okay, the next color that I'm going to put on there, there's several different liner colors that you can choose from. My favorite one on here is the second one. It's called Sincere. And I also like to use Brassy sometimes in the center of my lid just to kind of highlight and drop the lighting into that area. So I'm going to use Sincere. It's going to be in this corner. Now you can use this end if you want. And I like pat it in and go all the way to the center. It's okay if you overlap these colors because you're going to need to blend. You can't have blunt colors when you're doing your eye colors. You don't want to have harsh edges. You don't want to have you can have bright, beautiful colors, but you definitely want to blend. They can't just be really blunt with no blending, or it's not going to look right. So don't be afraid to overlap. Okay, so I've added that color in. I like to put a little bit of highlight here in this corner. I'm going to take the other side of my brush and just kind of like blend it a little bit. I'm going to come back to my brown. So this is a lot different than the mineral pigments that you would use that are loose. As it's a lot softer. It's still a mineral, but it's a lot softer, and because it's pressed, then it just applies a little bit different than the loose powder, which is fine. But if you use our loose pigment, then you go to this, it's going to just be a little bit different when you do your application. Okay, so there I have the two colors. You can see nothing. Wish I could get so you can see how dark my corner is. Okay, then I'm gonna, like I said, I take that little bit of the Brassy. I'm gonna use again the sponge part, and I just do a little bit. You can see, and I'm just gonna pat in the center, just to kind of blend those two colors together, because you want your light, kind of a highlight color, and then your darkness in the corner. Now you can do a smoky eye where you do your entire lid. I like it better just to highlight the corners because I feel like for me it brings out my eyes much better. But you can do all over the lid and highlight the center if you want to do it that way too. Alright, so there's my brown. You can tell. And then I'm going to come back with Addiction 2 palette. This one has a nice black called Peppy that I like to use as my eyeliner. Now the other beautiful thing about these palettes is you can use these dry and you can use them wet. Wet's going to definitely make the color more vibrant. They're vibrant by themselves, but if you use, like I said, I use rose water to get it wet, it will make it that much brighter. I'm also going to use, this is our liner shader brush from Younique. I'm going to use this then to just put a little bit of black in my corner. There's two really pretty colors on this one that you could use. You could use Peppy to put in your corner, or you can use Poppy is a really good brown. Since I'm doing a brown eye already, I'm just going to use that color and kind of press it into a little into my crease in my corner, into your V is where you want it to go. Okay, then I'm going to turn around with my liner brush, and I'm going to use Peppy. And I'm also going to use a little rose water to get it wet. You only need like one spray on this, so. And I'm going to blot it a little bit so it doesn't run. Okay, you're just going to... These are very pigmented, so you really don't need a lot. This is one of my favorite brushes that Younique has. It's very, very good to put on liner. You can run it just like you would a liquid liner brush. I tend to pat just to make sure. That way I feel like I get better color and I don't have to go over it as many times if I pat it in as opposed to drawing like a pen. Alright, so there you go. This is... That would be my brown. Kind of smoky eye with the Addiction Palette 1, and then I use the Cocky and the Peppy from Addiction Palette 2 to use my liner and to put in a little in the corner. Palettes of $49. You can get all three for $130 right now this month of November. If you buy all three, you will get an eye primer for free. So, let me know what you ladies think. And my website is www.lashesglam.com. That's lashes with a Z. Thank you for watching. Hope you love it.